The history of the Netherlands begins with the Germanic tribes who inhabited the low-lying regions of northwestern Europe. The Batavi Frisians and other Celtic and Germanic peoples established settlements along the Rhine River and North Sea coast. The Romans conquered much of the southern Netherlands around 50 BCE, incorporating it into the provinces of Germania Inferior and Belgica. Roman influence brought urbanization, infrastructure, and Christianity to the region, with cities like Nijmegen becoming important administrative centers. After the fall of the Ramang Empire in the 5th century, the Franks gradually took control of the region. Under Charlemagne's empire, the Netherlands became part of the Holy Roman Empire. The Christianization of the region accelerated during this period with missionary work among the Frisians and the establishment of monasteries. The Viking raids of the 9th and 10th centuries disrupted coastal communities, but also led to the development of better defensive structures and local governance. The medieval period saw the emergence of distinct regional identities within the Netherlands. The County of Holland, established in the 10th century, became one of the most powerful feudal states in the region. The Counts of Holland gradually expanded their territory through warfare, marriage alliances, and strategic politics. Meanwhile, the northern provinces remained under the control of various bishops and local nobles. Trade became increasingly important during the High Middle Ages. Dutch merchants established trading networks throughout northern Europe, dealing in agricultural products, fish, and manufactured goods. The rise of cities like Amsterdam, Utrecht, and Bruges reflected this commercial growth. The Dutch also became renowned for their hydraulic engineering, developing sophisticated systems of dikes, polders, and canals to reclaim land from the sea. The Burgundian period marked a crucial phase in Dutch history. Philip the Bold of Burgundy acquired the County of Flanders through marriage, and subsequent Burgundian dukes gradually brought most of the Low Countries under their control. This period saw increased political centralization, economic integration, and cultural flowering. The Burgundian court became a center of art, literature, and music, with figures like Jan van Eyck revolutionizing painting techniques. The Habsburg dynasty inherited the Burgundian territories when Mary of Burgundy married Maximilian I of Austria. Their grandson, Charles V, became Holy Roman Emperor and King of Spain, making the Netherlands part of a vast European empire. Initially, Spanish rule was relatively benign, but tensions arose under Philip II. Philip II's attempts to centralize administration, suppress local privileges, and enforce Catholic orthodoxy sparked widespread resistance. The introduction of the Spanish Inquisition and new taxes particularly angered the Dutch nobility and urban merchants. The iconoclastic fury of 1566, during which Protestant mobs destroyed Catholic religious imagery, marked the beginning of open rebellion. The Dutch Revolt, also known as the 80 Years' War, began as a noble protest but evolved into a full-scale war of independence. William of Orange emerged as the leader of the resistance, organizing both diplomatic and military efforts against Spanish rule. The war was characterized by sieges, naval battles, and guerrilla warfare. The Sea Beggars, Dutch privateers, played a crucial role in the early stages of the revolt. In 1581, the 7 northern provinces formally declared their independence from Spain in the Act of Abjuration, establishing the Republic of the 7 United Netherlands. The southern provinces remained under Spanish control. The war continued sporadically until the Peace of Westphalia in 1648, which formally recognized Dutch independence. The Dutch Golden Age coincided with the early decades of independence and represented an extraordinary period of economic prosperity, cultural achievement, and political influence. The Dutch Republic became a major European power despite its small size and population. Economic factors drove this remarkable success. The Dutch developed an advanced capitalist economy based on trade, banking, and manufacturing. The Dutch East India Company, established in 1602, became the world's first multinational corporation and dominated Asian trade for 2 centuries. The West India Company controlled much of the Atlantic slave trade and established colonies in the Americas. Amsterdam emerged as the financial capital of Europe with its stock exchange, banking houses, and insurance companies. The Dutch also excelled in agriculture and industry. Land reclamation projects created new farmland and demonstrated advanced hydraulic engineering. Dutch agriculture became highly productive, supporting urban populations and export markets. Industries like shipbuilding, textiles, brewing, and sugar refining flourished. Culturally, the Golden Age produced some of history's greatest artists, including Rembrandt van Rijn, Johannes Vermeer, and Frans Hals. Dutch painters developed new techniques and subjects, particularly in portraiture, landscape, and genre painting. The relative religious tolerance of the Republic attracted intellectual refugees from across Europe, making it a center of learning and publishing. Politically, the Dutch Republic was unique in Europe. It was a decentralized federation where power was shared between the Team, States General, and provincial governments. The House of Orange provided military leadership as stadholders, but the merchant elite wielded considerable influence. This system, while sometimes inefficient, allowed for remarkable flexibility and innovation. The Dutch Golden Age began to fade in the late 17th century due to several factors. The Anglo-Dutch Wars damaged Dutch trade and naval power. Louis XIV's wars forced the Netherlands to spend heavily on defense, straining the economy. The War of Spanish Succession further weakened Dutch finances. The 18th century saw continued decline. The Dutch economy became increasingly dependent on financial services rather than trade and manufacturing. Political paralysis between Orangist and Patriot factions weakened governance. The Fourth Anglo-Dutch War was particularly devastating, costing the Netherlands most of its colonial empire and international prestige. The Patriot movement of the 1780s saw democratic reforms, but was suppressed with Prussian help. However, the French Revolution dramatically changed the situation. In 1795, French forces invaded the Netherlands, establishing the Batavian Republic as a French satellite state. This marked the end of the Old Dutch Republic. The French period brought significant changes. The Batavian Republic and its successor, the Kingdom of Holland under Napoleon's brother Louis Bonaparte, implemented legal equality, civil rights, and administrative reforms. The continental system disrupted trade, but also stimulated some domestic industries. The Dutch economy suffered severely during this period, and the country lost most of its remaining colonies to Britain. The Congress of Vienna in 1815 created the United Kingdom of the Netherlands, combining the former Dutch Republic with the Austrian Netherlands and the Duchy of Luxembourg under King William I of Orange-Nassau. This arrangement reflected the great powers' desire to create a strong barrier against French expansion. The union with Belgium proved problematic from the start. Cultural, religious, and economic differences created tensions between the predominantly Protestant, Dutch-speaking North and the Catholic, French-speaking South. The Belgian Revolution of 1830 led to Belgian independence, leaving the Netherlands roughly in its current form. The 19th century saw gradual modernization and democratization. The Industrial Revolution came slowly to the Netherlands, partly due to the country's commercial orientation and colonial wealth. Railroad construction began in the 1830s, and industrial development accelerated after 1850. The discovery of peat and later natural gas provided energy resources. Politically, the Netherlands evolved from absolute monarchy toward constitutional democracy. The 1848 Constitution, drafted by Johann Rudolph Thorbecke, established parliamentary government and civil liberties. Suffrage was gradually extended. reaching all adult males by 1917 and including women in 1919. The Dutch colonial empire remained important throughout the 19th century. The Dutch East Indies became increasingly profitable through the cultivation system, which forced Indonesian farmers to grow export crops. However, this system was gradually abolished due to liberal criticism and replaced by private enterprise. The Netherlands remained neutral during World War I, but the conflict still affected the country significantly. Trade disruption, food shortages, and refugee flows created economic and social problems. The Dutch government interned both German and Allied military personnel who crossed the border. The interwar period saw continued democratization and social reform. The pillarization system emerged, dividing Dutch society into Protestant, Catholic, socialist, and liberal pillars, each with its own institutions. This system promoted social stability but also created segmentation. World War II proved catastrophic for the Netherlands. Germany invaded on May 10, 1940, and despite fierce resistance, the country surrendered after 5 days following the bombing of Rotterdam. The Nazi occupation was particularly brutal, with over 100,000 Dutch Jews murdered in the Holocaust. The Dutch resistance movement engaged in sabotage and intelligence work, while the Hunger Winter of 1944–1945 caused widespread starvation. Liberation came in May 1945, but the Netherlands faced enormous challenges. Cities had been destroyed, the economy was in ruins, and the colonial empire was in revolt. The Indonesian National Revolution resulted in the loss of the Dutch East Indies, the most valuable colony. Post-war reconstruction transformed the Netherlands into a modern welfare state. The government implemented comprehensive social security, healthcare, and education systems. Economic planning and cooperation between government, employers, and unions promoted stability and growth. The Netherlands became a founding member of NATO, the European Coal and Steel Community, and the European Economic Community. European integration became a cornerstone of Dutch foreign policy, with the country consistently supporting deeper cooperation. The 1960s brought cultural revolution and social liberalization. The pillarization system broke down as secularization and individualism increased. The Netherlands became known for progressive policies on drugs, sexuality, and social issues. The sexual revolution, women's liberation, and environmental movement all had significant impacts. Economic development continued through the post-war boom, though the oil crises of the 1970s caused recession and unemployment. The discovery of natural gas in Groningen provided substantial revenues but also created the Dutch disease problem of currency appreciation harming other exports. The 1980s and 1990s saw neoliberal reforms reducing the welfare state and promoting market competition. The Polder model of consensus politics helped maintain social peace during this transition. Immigration from former colonies, Mediterranean countries, and later from non-Western nations created a multicultural society, though this also generated tensions. Recent decades have seen the Netherlands grappling with globalization, European integration, climate change, and immigration. The country has maintained its position as a prosperous, democratic, and internationally oriented nation while addressing new challenges like populism, inequality, and sustainability. The Dutch have continued their historic relationship with water management, developing innovative solutions for climate change and sea level rise. The Delta Works, completed in 1997, represents one of the world's most sophisticated flood protection systems. Today, the Netherlands remains a constitutional monarchy with a parliamentary system. The country is known for its high standard of living, progressive social policies, and strong international institutions. Dutch multinational corporations, innovative agriculture, and the port of Rotterdam maintain the country's position in the global economy. The Netherlands has evolved from a small collection of medieval counties into a modern European nation-state, maintaining its distinctive character while adapting to changing circumstances. The themes of trade, tolerance, innovation, and adaptation to geographic challenges have remained constant throughout Dutch history, shaping a unique national identity that continues to influence the country's development in the 21st century. The 21st century has brought new complexities to Dutch society. The rise of populist politics, exemplified by figures like PM Fortuyn and Geert Wilders, has challenged traditional consensus-based governance and raised questions about immigration, multiculturalism, and Dutch identity. The murders of Fortuyn in 2002 and filmmaker Theo van Gogh in 2004 shocked the nation and sparked intense debates about integration and free speech. Climate change poses perhaps the greatest long-term challenge for a country where 2/3 of the population lives below sea level. The Netherlands has become a global leader in climate adaptation, developing floating communities, smart dikes, and nature-based solutions. The country has committed to carbon neutrality by 2050 and is transitioning away from natural gas extraction in Groningen due to earthquake risks. The COVID-19 pandemic tested Dutch resilience and governance systems, revealing both strengths and weaknesses in crisis management. The Netherlands' response highlighted the importance of its healthcare system, social safety nets, and international cooperation through EU coordination mechanisms. Looking forward, the Netherlands faces demographic changes with an aging population, technological disruption affecting traditional industries, and ongoing debates about European integration. The country's historic adaptability, innovative spirit, and international outlook position it well to navigate these challenges while maintaining its commitment to democratic values, social cohesion, and sustainable development. The Dutch legacy of turning challenges into opportunities continues to shape national responses to contemporary global issues.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, comment, and subscribe to the channel for more engaging historical content.